Hey, what's going on, everyone? I've been getting a lot of requests about information on the Timor monitors and how to keep them, and well, I figured I'd make this video and try to help everybody out. First thing you guys gotta understand about these little creatures is that they're food for where they come from, so they're really neurotic and psychotic. So the first thing you gotta do when setting up their cage is give them a lot of cover, a lot of places to hide. The best advice I ever got was make it so that they could go from end to end of the cage without being seen. Alright, so I'm going to give you a quick tour of my cage, how I custom built it. It's 4 feet tall by 3 feet wide and 2 feet deep. I have a single animal living in here, a male, who happens to be actually pretty large for him. And before I really get into anything, the most important thing is I have only had one Timor in my life. It's only my data points and only information I can give on this individual animal. So, some of the information is definitely disputable. But I'll give you the best what I can tell you and what's worked best to give you a healthy, very active animal. Alright? So, the first thing to show you is when I constructed the tank, or the cage rather, I use 4 mica for the walls and 3/4 inch plywood. It's attached with using Gorilla Glue. It works phenomenal. I highly suggest this. I've tried using tiles and things like that before. Nothing's held up like this. I mean, it's meant to be used in high humidity places like a kitchen sink. So it's definitely, and it's very scratch resistant and strong. All the vines and twigs and things like that you see, or hopefully you can see, all came from Michael's. I suggest, or an art store, I suggest you just be careful and make sure you thoroughly wash them, even give them a bath in a 10% bleach. This way it gets they tend to come very fragrant, and God knows what else, so at least you get them nice and clean for them. Alright? Most of else what you see came from Home Depot. These tubes are just gutters, like for runoffs, that have actually turned into really good hiding places for these animals. As you can see, he loves hiding, especially up in this one. It's a good mid-range for him. It's probably about 80 degrees right there, and if you could see, there's a little ledge in the back that he hangs out on. That's something else that's very important while I'm on the subject, is your heat gradients. And you want a basking spot, which is, if you could see, right underneath of about 120 degrees. An ambient temperature, which I have set up in about 3 different zones. In the top, it's about 90. In the middle portion, it goes into about low 80s to mid 70s, and it's about the mid 70s, lower 70s were in the bottom of the cage. Alright, humidity should be kept at somewhere about 70%, again 60, somewhere in that range. A big flaw in my particular cage design is that I have an open top, which allows all the humidity out. Cage previously I had the lighting and everything built inside of it, and I found him crawling around inside the cage. Fortunately, the light was off at the time, and well, we avoided a major incident, and fortunately he was okay. So that was my lesson learned. Hopefully you guys can come up with a better solution. Alright? Very important, always keep fresh water. He, oddly enough, seems to never drink from it. He tends to drink water from the walls or himself after a shower. Again, something else is really important. Try to shower these guys every day. Keeps them healthy, keeps them clean. Nice, good soaking. Anything like, they'll probably sit in his basking spot and just relax. Now, one other big thing about these guys, and I'll show you mine in a minute, is that where they're from, they're small. They're essentially food for other animals. The idea of taming one of these animals, from my experience, is pretty much not happening. You know, I've had mine for about 2.5 years, and our existence, as long as he stays on one side of the glass in his cage, he's very cool, and he's an amazing animal to watch. As soon as we come into personal contact, he's not happy. He doesn't bite, but it expresses extreme stress on him. And with that being said, you probably don't want to clean the cage more than once a month. And I mean clean it by taking everything out, taking the animal out. Spot clean daily if you can, if you see he's used the bathroom, or she for that matter. If you're keeping 2 animals in one area, in one cage, make sure it's bigger than this, and make sure they have identical basking spots on separate sides. This way, if they get sick of each other, they have a place to hide away. You know, get away from one another. Nobody likes spending 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with one another, not even lizards. That be totally imagine, you know, create whatever you can. The little stand that's on was a pair of crutches when I broke my foot. There's a sling in there from when I broke my shoulder. You know, I made a little pouch for him. Substrate, I use sand from Home Depot, like a play sand. It's very fine, clean. Most importantly, I used to use topsoil. It smelled. There was glass in it. It was disgusting. Flies. It did not work out. On top of that, I put probably about a 2-inch layer of sphagnum moss, also from Home Depot. Save your money. It's $4.95 there. It's $14.95 in Petco. There's some wood, nice big chunks of wood in there for them to climb. And something else. These guys are arboreal creatures. Give them a lot to climb on. Wood, these vines. If you could see, there's netting all around his little platform there, which was a laundry bag that he used and cut up. You know, your imagination's a limit, but they definitely like to climb, and they feel secure nice and high. What else can I tell you guys? Your activity level on them should be extremely high. They're really active animals, and that's how you should tell if they're healthy. If you see them very sluggish, if you notice their nails are falling off, that the tail especially is thinning out, that's a #1 sign that there's something wrong. A monitor should have a nice, thick, healthy tail. And you should be running around for at least 4 or 5 hours a day, especially these little guys. And that a lot will come from the food. He was a big pain in the butt for the first, I'd say, year almost. He'd only eat white things. He'd only eat silkworms. Unfortunately, I could no longer get him, so I had to try to switch him to everything from eggs to different kinds of worms to eventually pinkies to fuzzies. Fuzzy mice. And that's what I have him on now. And he pretty much eats anything as long as it's meat-oriented, which isn't necessarily the best diet. Yeah, if you can, get discoid roaches, something like that. Keep him on that diet. And an occasional mouse. You know, it's not really meant for them to be eating them. It's not natural diet for them. But on the other hand, they are getting a full nutritional meal, which means there's zero need, and it's a lot of debate with monitors, but I've seen the health, color, and beauty of mine. There's absolutely no need for UV light. And if they're feeding, you know, mice, they're getting all the calcium, all the vitamin D, vitamin A, everything that they could possibly need that they might be getting or benefiting from that UVA, UVB light, which, again, not that I've found in these particular animals. What else? They do like to have, or as again I've found, he likes to have a particular home, so to speak. He will sleep at times in one of these tubes. He will sleep out in the open. But, as you can see, on the floor, all the way at the bottom, see if I get a flashlight, that's his main house. That's his den, so to speak. It's kind of important to stay away. If he's in there, leave him alone. And that's something else. Just touching these animals tend to stress them out for a couple of days. But leave them alone. That's going to be your best bet to build the trust. Let them come to you. You know, taking 3 years with mine, or 2 years, whatever I've had him in total, and he still doesn't like me picking him up, and that's fine. But he's an awesome display animal. And he lets me feed him by hand, which you can check out one of my other videos. just don't expect, like you see a lot of Savs, the Savannah monitors hanging out and their owners. Not these guys. It's just not, again, in their nature. Some other signs from an unhealthy monitor: watch their fingernails, eating habits, if they eat at all, if their fingernails start decreasing, like they're getting scratched away and they're not regrowing. It could be nutrient deficiency, could be stress, color, shedding. Get a chance to know your animal. Give them a chance to eat. Give them a chance to grow. And that's the other thing, unfortunately, with the eating, other than them being a pain in the butt to get them on a solid diet, is they probably won't let you watch them eat. Alright? So your best bet is to crawl under a blanket if you're desperate to see them eat, and poke your head out and make them think that you're not there. That's what I used to do. Or just leave the room. They're extremely intelligent. They will try to escape, so make sure everything is locked up securely. Again, I've also been told, and it's, from my experience, a good indicator, a healthy monitor should spend most of his day trying to escape. Not out of stress, out of just being active intelligence. Problem solving. So, that's his cage. I know you guys have been staring at it for like 11 minutes now, and I'm sure you're pretty bored of it. And I'm pretty sure you're bored of hearing me. I think I covered everything that I could, that I thought of. It's completely natural also for them to bug out when they see you. That's, again, part of the trust building. When you walk in a room, totally ignore them. Go to a seat, stay away from them, let them come out, check you out, and then you could pay a little attention to them. And what you're going to probably see right now when I show you, he's in a 10-gallon tank, because I just cleaned out this cage, is a threat display, which is pretty funny on an animal this size. So hold on one second, and I'll take you guys over there. By the way, a lot of places, pet stores will tell you it's cool to keep one of these animals in a 10-gallon tank or a 20-gallon tank most of its life. And as you can see, he's this size of a 10-gallon tank. So, fry. Relax. See the throat jutting out. As you can see, he's a beautiful little creature, but he is still a monitor. He's tried biting me once. It was my fault, and it was the most painful, pound-for-pound, inch-for-inch thing I've ever experienced. It was actually kind of cool. And while I got him here, one of the last thing I'll show you guys is an example of a fat tail and how you want it to look. And yeah, that's him hissing. See proportionally how thick and long his tail is? That's a well-fed monitor. You want to see that. That's where they store their fat, and that's the longevity. Well, guys, hopefully I've answered all your questions. Hopefully, I didn't bore you too much. Thanks for watching, and if I can add anything else, please let me know. And again, most importantly, this is just my one Timor. Fry right here. It's my only one I've ever had, only monitor I've ever had. The only other lizard I have is a Savannah, a bearded dragon, rather, and I have 2 snakes. So, I've just done a lot of research and fought around with this guy a lot, and had a lot of experience, and he's successfully healthy, so I figure I might pass along any useful information I can give. Thanks a lot, guys, and have a great day. Bye.